What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Arcadia. Going back to their 1985 album, So Red the Rose. I've enjoyed going through this. I really think it does have a sort of Duran Duran sound, although perhaps the flavor is a tiny bit different. I keep mentioning in a couple of the tunes so far that I feel like there's a few moments where Simon's vocal delivery is in a slightly different style, so I've enjoyed the familiarity of the sound, but I do feel the sort of like artistic creativity is like in a slightly different flavor. So yeah, I absolutely understand why this album has stuck out to people over the years. As I keep mentioning as I've gone through this, I am going to get the Power Station album as well and eventually go through that, though I do understand it has a bit more of a rock flavor. So looking forward to comparing and contrasting the two side projects, and then, you know, thinking about it in light of Seven and the Ragged Tiger, and then also on the other side, Notorious. So yeah, it's been an enjoyable process by which I've heard more and more Duran and begun to sort of feel the evolution of their sounds, plural, and styles, plural, over time. So yeah, shout out to all of you who sort of helped me understand. And to that point, I wanted to give a special shout out to Ron. You know, I was reacting to The Flame, and I mentioned a few things when I was speculating about what that title could relate to. One of the things I mentioned is the way in which fire, or flame, has been used by humanity going back to, you know, before recorded history, as a means to sort of try to take hold of the external natural world, and using fire proved to be a major technological development in the history of humans and our sort of collective species. And it's funny that I thought of that, but I didn't pick up on the idea of Prometheus, the idea of a godlike being, which are associated with fate, often imposed on humanity, and which passed fire to humans against the wishes of even more powerful gods, and ultimately paid a, let's say, long-lasting and brutal price for that transgression. But in a way, it is then transformative to human society. And of course, there are other like religious paradigms that have that sort of like that story or that metaphor about, you know, passing a fruit of knowledge, and that changes everything for the human species, but it's seen as not an ideal maneuver. So yeah, but it's funny to me that I sort of thought about fire as indicative of technology in relation to humanity, but didn't think of that Promethean layer. So once again, shout out to Ron, whose insight like really sort of informed a more significant understanding of that song. And I actually re-listened to it like 3 or 4 times last night, and it sort of like kept baking into my brain. So again, shout out to Ron, as well as all the others who have provided lyrical analysis. I know Izzy and a number of others. I think even the other Ron, shout out to you too. I think they've commented on lyrics on a number of occasions, and like I said, I know there's been many of you who've done that. So anyway, the next tune in the track list is called Missing. Obviously, it's a single word title. I keep saying these tend to be a bit more opaque because they can be taken so many different ways, but it relates to the absence of something that is expected to be present or integral in some process, but for whatever reason is not there. Missing could be due to a lack of other beings perceiving where they are, but it could be also like missing internally, like feeling like you're not in the place where you're supposed to be as you're doing some process or event. Yeah, so it speaks to a vacancy or an absence, but the sort of origin of that and the relevance or the ramifications of that, it's a bit too opaque without further information, so we'll just get right to it. This is Missing by Arcadia on their album So Red the Rose, 1985.
Rushed up to meet the roses in your hand.
jazz and a soulful whale song, you get some of the sonics that I'm hearing.
How can you touch me? How do you really dare?
Storm. That was all kinds of special, and that ending is just genius. Yeah, so definitely, it felt like the narrator, he was going to where they expected someone to be, and they went through the open door, but then they're not there, and there's, again, a sense of absence. And it's funny, the music, as I said, it felt like emotional therapy, but that could be indicative of the fact that you don't really go through therapy unless there's some trauma or unless there's some longing that feels unresolved. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in some ways the Sonics were mixing with the themes, even if I don't have a full sort of grasp on the themes. But yeah, I'll have to hear it again. I did pick up on some lines enough to suggest that, this is about missing another person. Now, obviously, that could manifest in a few different ways. Someone could be deceased, or, a relationship could have run its course and the person is no longer in your life. So, yeah, there could be a number of ways that can manifest, and I don't think I picked up on enough to really apply that sort of principle in a specific place. But yeah, I do have to hear it some more. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you do have an angle. And again, shout out to Ron and all the others of you who are commenting. I mentioned in one of the comments that sometimes I feel like, damn, I missed that detail that I should have picked up on. But in a way, I don't think it's a bad thing sometimes, because I feel like even if part of my brain is like, oh man, I probably should have thought of that, I keep asking people, hey, let me know if you have some insight on the lyrics, and the degree to which it has enhanced my appreciation for Duran Duran. I know this isn't Duran Duran, but it is the same individuals involved, or some of them anyway. And so yeah, it has made this experience even more enjoyable and sort of mentally expansive than it would be otherwise. So once again, shout out to all you, even if you haven't commented about lyrics, even if it's, you've commented about opinions about tunes or albums or, personal experiences. I love, there's a lot of people who have shared anecdotes about when they saw them, or, the period in their life that a certain album or song reminds them of, and that again reminds me the way in which we humans experience music in such a special way, that we sort of link it to people, to times, to places that we spent a lot of time. And so over time, the way in which these different aspects of our memory and mental experience mesh into sort of one composite, it's really stunning when you feel it yourself, but it's also remarkable when you read about it in other people's lives. So big ups to all you. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you think of this one. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you next time.